Hello and welcome to my channel. My name is Grace. Thank you so much for clicking on this video. Today is a very special video because I have a very special guest on my channel, and she's my sister. She won a Mastercard Scholarship in one public university in the USA. I'm super excited to have her here. I have some questions that I want to be asking her, and if you're new to this channel, please subscribe. If you have not subscribed before and you've been seeing my videos, please, now is the time for you to subscribe. So if you've been planning to apply for Mastercard Scholarship or applying into UC Berkeley, then you should keep watching this video. All right, so let's get right into the video. Yes, the first question I'd like to ask is for my sister to introduce herself. So just tell us a little bit about yourself, just a little bit.
So my name is Excellence. That's my name, and I love to be called my name. I studied biomedical laboratory science in my undergraduate at the University of Ibadan, but in the last 4 years I've not exactly practiced. I've just done a bit of practice here and there. I did my internship, but I've been working in the impact space, especially in the labor market, trying to reduce gender unemployment. So what I do, or what we do in my team, is to train women on digital skills and then help them get jobs. So it's a social enterprise. We have the business and the non-profit aspect of it, and we work and then make impact. So that's what I've been doing. I'm also a mom.
Awesome.
Yeah, I'm just multi-potentialite. I just do quite a number of things here and there. Yeah.
So she mentioned something about training. A fun fact: I'm a social media manager, and I learned everything I know from her. Like, I was her first student, and she has just been very instrumental in my life and in my career journey, and basically in my personal journey. So thank you so much for doing this with me. So let's get right into the question.
Okay.
So the first question I have for you is, tell us about your academic journey. What was I know you've mentioned what your undergrad was, but what was like your undergrad academic background like?
So I got into the University of Ibadan to study pharmacy. After 4 years, I changed my course to biomedical laboratory science, which is what I graduated with from the University of Ibadan. I majored in hematology and blood group serology. And then coming out in tech, I've had to do quite a number of certifications, both in business, in technology, and as well as health. So I've had certification. I've had a mini MBA. I've had certifications in digital marketing, content marketing, social media consultancy, Python coding, and so many, like over 15 certifications. I've done quite a number of certifications across tech entrepreneurship and health. And then I've just had those certifications, and that's what I've been into so far. Yeah.
Okay. All right. The next question is, when did you decide that you were going to get a second degree?
That was 2021. Okay. That was when I decided, and I knew that I needed to do more. I needed to build more. Where I realized we're going beyond what I had projected. So goals for 3 years were hitting in months, in a year. And I knew I wanted to build something sustainable. And yes, I was enthusiastic, I was passionate, and I had these skills that I had gotten from, the whole hard work and all. But I knew that if I wanted to build something truly sustainable for the continent, not just for my community, not just for Nigeria, but for Africa, I needed to go out, I needed to step out, I needed to do more. And so I decided I wanted to do a graduate program. And I also knew that I wanted the program to be in a developed country, not in a developing nation. And I also knew I wanted a unique program. So that from then, 2021, I knew, it's time to go to graduate school. So 2021.
Okay. So the next one is, how long have you been trying to get a scholarship? I know that we'll get to that in a bit, but I know you got the Mastercard Scholarship, but I just want to have like a brief overview, like how did you how long have you been trying to get a scholarship?
Well, when I decided I wanted to go to grad school, I began to do a research, and I realized I want to go to a top school. I wanted to go to a developed country, and the fees were not smiling. And I spoke to a senior friend of mine at that time, and he told me that I could get a scholarship. I think he was the first person that sowed the seed into my life to know that there was possibilities in me getting a scholarship, or my dream was valid. And so I thought, okay, I'll get a scholarship. What do I need to get a scholarship? like, oh, write a GRE or write a GMAT, do IELTS and all. So yeah, that was when I decided, or I knew that I wanted to get a scholarship, and I started trying.
Okay, so the next question is walk us through how and why you chose your course, your choice of course, and we also want to know why you chose the university that you chose.
So for me, it was first the course. I wanted a course that intersected development with inclusion, as well as impact from a global perspective, creating sustainable solutions. I didn't even know it was tag engineering at that time, but what I wanted was to do something in international, global social development that intersected impact, inclusion, ending poverty, especially for women. And so my senior friend had told me that it could come in different forms, in different courses, but then you have to look and check the curriculum and see what they offer. So for UC Berkeley, it was a friend that pointed it out to me. So I talked so much about it, that this is what I want to do, this is how I want to do it. I want a course that intersects this. I want a course that will look at solving problems from a global perspective and all of that. And he's like, hey, Excellence, I think you should check UC Berkeley. I'm like, UC Berkeley? So yes, I think I saw a course there, development engineering. I'm like, engineering. I beg. I did study engineering undergraduate. I beg. This is what he's like, no, just go have a look at it. And so for me, I went there, I looked at it, and I'm like, oh my God, this was everything.
Wow.
Development, impact, ethics, social entrepreneurship, engineering, technology, like you're just all in one.
Wow.
And in one place.
So
and
what was the name of the course in your school?
Development engineering.
Just development.
Masters in development engineering.
Okay.
It was a new course, relatively new, and it just had this curriculum that intersected everything, just like a one-stop shop. So okay, I saw it, I'm like, oh yeah, this sounds interesting. And he's like, you should apply. You know, and UC Berkeley is good. Okay, for me then, he said it's good, but I didn't know it was so much of a big deal at that time. I just felt this course is really good. And since he said the school was good, I said, yeah, that was how I identified the course, and that was how I applied for the school. Although it wasn't my first school application. The other school I applied for, which was UMass, which I got in last year. The course was Global Inclusion and Social Development. Yeah, the School of Global Inclusion and Social Development. That was the school, and the program was supposed to be a Master's in Global Inclusion and Social Development. So if you see my trajectory, that has been the course I've been looking out for. I did other applications in sustainable international development. Like that was just it for me. Development.
Alright, that's great. So the next question we have for you is, what was the university's application process like?
Oh my God. So in the first place, I didn't know that UC Berkeley was a big deal. So my friend had told me about the application earlier, maybe something like now, like in July or August, and the application opened in September. So I already checked it out. I already had it in mind. I already knew what they required for the program. I checked it out. So when the application opened, I quickly went and created my account to just have a feel of what it was like. God, there were so many questions. There were so many essays. It was the first school that I saw that they were asking for personal statements, statement of purpose, diversity essay, you know, all of that. It was a lot. They were asking some questions about your background, about your family, your earning. It was just a lot. So I had to go back to my friend and I'm like, hey, this thing is too much. What is it? He was like, you don't know UC Berkeley, the acceptance rate is quite low. I'm like, then they should just say they don't want to take people. I don't understand. He was like, just try, just give it a try, just try. And the application fee also at that time was, I think, about $155. So I'm like, okay, let me try now. So I got into their system, and of course I was receiving newsletters. I started trying, I was answering the questions. Then they said students from Africa, there was going to be a webinar with Mastercard. So he had told me that there was something like that. So I put in my ears to hear that. So I'm like, oh, let me attend the webinar. When they called for that webinar, I applied. And during the webinar, they said they were going to offer some students, some African students, an application waiver. And I'm like, okay, fine. And they said they'll send you the link when it's time to apply. And I applied. To apply for that one again, because you have to be ready. And I think what it does, the application process is, if you're not serious, you won't complete it. Yeah, if you're not serious, you won't complete it. It's a lot, and you have to think carefully because those things are going into document for life. You can't just lie. You have to think carefully. And so I applied for the application waiver while I was still doing my applications, and it took a while. They didn't get back to me when they said they would, but when they got back to me and told me I got the application waiver, when I opened it, I saw it, it became like another source of ginger that, hey, I must submit this application.
Yeah.
So I told him, I said, hey, I got the application waiver, and we realized, I said, this is ginger. I have nothing to lose now. I'm not paying any application fee, so I have to actually finish this application. And so I was checking, reading what's the difference between the statement of purpose and the personal statement, what's the school like, what are they looking for a diversity essay, what kind of thing should I write. There were also other essays. My department also needed a portfolio, no more than 10 pages. I do quite a number of things. I've done quite a number of things. What area will I focus my essay on? Of course, the essay was different from your CV. You just so many things.
How many essay in total? Can you remember?
To be honest, I can't remember because in the first place, I didn't think I stood a chance as much. I graduated with a 2.2 from undergraduate, and in as much as my program required a STEM background, so I had a STEM background, and the way he was already hyping the school and so many things, I was like, I don't know, let me just try to do it because I have nothing to lose.
Yeah.
So I wasn't paying attention to just intricate details, but yes, I was giving it my best. I was not, and the thing is, I didn't really save most of those details because I wasn't lying. It was what I've done, and I've done so much work in the community space that it has become part of me. If you wake me up in the night, I will just answer you, and it was something I love to do.
Yeah.
So I was just answering the questions. I did some research back and front, and I understood the difference between the different essays, and I wrote them, and I gave myself a target. Now, aside that school, I was doing other applications. By December 1st, I'd submitted all my applications.
That's 2022.
2022. Although their application was still open till, I don't know whether it's mid-December or early January. I can't remember, but it was still open for a while. But I made sure that by December 1st, all my applications were turned in. And there were also references. They needed references. I think 3.
Okay. 3
references. I reached out to key people, and so I did all of that, and I just submitted. So that was how the application process was like. So you have to be prepared. It was a lot. Yeah.
Okay. So my next question is, can you walk us through your Mastercard scholarship application process? Like, how was it like? How did you apply? Or what was the application process like?
So when we had that webinar, like I told you, doing the application with the Center for African Studies, they're the ones that coordinate the Mastercard Foundation Scholarship Program. So they walked us through the process, and they told us that you submit your application. Now, you have to get admitted before you can be recommended for the scholarship. So when you get admitted, your department, they're the ones that are going to recommend you for the scholarship. They'll send you your name. So it's not like it's open that you just go and apply because you got it or you didn't get it. No, it's not that open. Then when your department sends in, they will call you for application. When you're called for application, you will see that option opened in your portal to submit your application
for
Mastercard Scholarship. So I submitted in December. Sometime in February, my department sent me a mail that they had recommended me for admissions to the graduate division. But then it's the graduate division that has the final say whether they'll give you or not. And that's what they told me. So I said, okay. Shortly after my department sent me that mail, not too long, I also got another mail from Mastercard that I had been recommended for the scholarship.
Wow.
Yeah, that I recommended for the scholarship. So I needed to submit my application within a time frame or something. They gave me a time frame. I should go to my portal and I'll sit there. So truly, as I said, when I logged in, I saw apply for the Mastercard Scholarship, which wasn't there before. So I opened it up. I think for the Mastercard Scholarship, I submitted either 8 essays or 12 essays. I can't remember. Maybe 8 to 10 or between 6 to 12. Something like that, between 250 and I think 450 words, somewhere 250 or 350 words, or something like that. So I submitted, and I'd studied about them. I'd read their website. I'd looked for the kind of people they were looking for, and I think what I was doing fits into what they needed. So I submitted the essays, filled the form. That was in February when that mail came. I'd not also heard back from the graduate department, but of course my department said they had recommended me for the admission, which was a big deal for me. So we submitted the application in February, and they said they'll get back to us in March. If you qualify, you'll be called for an interview, and then after the interview they'll select those who they give, and they said they give only 12 people each year. So in March I got a mail that I had been selected for an interview. So I should select a convenient time. I selected a convenient time. My interview was on Sunday, in the afternoon, our time at about 1 p.m. They said interview was supposed to be for 20 minutes. So I had an interview with a team. They asked very deep, applicable questions. It wasn't what is not. It was very deep, applicable questions. I answered them, and they said in 2 weeks or more, or at about 2 weeks, you get a feedback. And yeah, that was how I got the mail that I got in. So that was the process.
So in a recap, you applied through your school portal. Then after you applied, they scheduled an interview. They shortlisted you for an interview. Then after the interview, you got in.
Yeah, so you have to get the admission first. You get the admission, they recommend you for Mastercard. Mastercard calls you to apply. You apply. If you do well, they call you for an interview. If you pass the interview, then you get the scholarship.
Right, that's great. So my next question is, there are many other scholarships available. Why did you choose the Mastercard Scholarship?
To be honest with you, it wasn't just that choosing the Mastercard Scholarship. It was this same friend that recommended me to the school that told me about it. And when I heard about the scholarship, I thought it was just tuition and maybe flight or something. But when I got in for the interview, there's this process of informed consent where they brief you about what the scholarship is about and what to expect. And they told me that it was a holistic support. It wasn't just a scholarship, it was everything that I was going to need to study. And oh my God, it became, oh, this is interesting. And I looked at what they had to offer and everything, and I'm like, okay, I really want this. So yeah, that was it for me. Also, Mastercard is very passionate about youth unemployment in Africa. And that's what I'm doing. That's what I've done over the last 4 years. Train girls and help them get jobs. The ultimate aim was help them get jobs. They should have their own money. So I saw a synergy between what I was doing and what they were interested in. And so I wanted to get into their ecosystem. So it was just a beautiful opportunity. I think I was more interested in it. They were offering a scholarship in the course that I wanted to study, in the school I wanted to go. So everything just, and they were interested in what I was doing. So everything just made sense, and it was a priority to me than every other scholarship.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, that's amazing. Thank you. Okay, so my next question is, what do you think made you stand out to get selected in the Mastercard Scholarship Award?
First, I'll say God. God was faithful, and it was time. Then secondly, I prepared. I took time in writing my essays. Now, you could do all the good work and all of that, but if you're not able to communicate it, I took time to make sure that I was able to communicate it to reflect what they were looking for. I did a lot of research. I did a lot of research. I prepared even for my interviews. I did practices. I even reached out to people who had got the scholarship. Some of them, I didn't reach out to them directly. I researched, found out what the work they do and the kind of people they were. And then I also reached out to people as well to ask for help. That when you had your interview, what was it like? How's the scholarship like? I did a lot of research. That was 2. Number 3, they had criteria. You have to be involved in community service. You have to get the admission. And for you to get the admission, you have to be good intellectually, all of that. And I knew I fit in. So you don't just apply because you want to apply. You have to see, do you fit? And if you fit, how do you communicate that, and how do you bridge the gap? So I think I was a model or a typo of what they required. That was one. And then I prepared very well. So my interview was easy. When my interview was just easy to communicate, I had a good time in my interview. I was myself. I practiced. It had become part of me. And I think that was it. But then, no matter how hard you work, God blessed.
Okay, so my next question is, what are some challenges you faced during the application process, like both for the school application, when you're applying for UC Berkeley and when you're applying for Mastercard Scholarship? Are there any challenges you faced?
Yeah, the first challenge I think I faced was paying the application fee. $155. What if I don't get it? But then when Mastercard gave a waiver, there's nothing to lose. That was the first thing. Then the second thing was there were a lot of essays, and of course you're restricted by the number of words. So I had to be careful. I had to practice and try to be concise. Then thirdly, they were asking questions about my family history, my history. So I had to think. Now, another place where I had a little bit issue was the essays. And I always talk about these 3 essays because it stood out for me: diversity essay, the statement of purpose, and the personal statement. Statement of purpose was easy because I knew why I wanted to do it, and so it was easy. But I was happy that I had the opportunity to write the personal statement. So for the personal statement, I was able to explain why I graduated with a 2-2 and why they should give me a chance. Then diversity essay too. Most times we're doing all the inclusion, but you don't know how to translate it. So I had to watch a lot of videos, do a lot of tutorials, practice a lot to really understand it. And then the portfolio, I had to know which of my work I wanted. It was just no more than 10 pages. And I made sure I presented an exceptional delivery. Like I did the design. I made sure I was intentional about my submission. So that was it for me. When I submitted, I just had to rest and then practice. The last part that was really a challenge for me was the waiting. By February, when I knew I'd gotten a chance, they've actually selected me, because the first thing was they have to select you. If they don't select you stand no chance for the scholarship. So when they selected me, I now knew I really wanted this. And waiting to hear back if I qualified for every next stage was a long wait. Will they call me? Everybody is good. This kind of school, for them to select you, you're really good. Like, will they call me? Yeah. So those were the challenges I experienced.
So my next question is, what should someone applying for UC Berkeley expect?
I think UC Berkeley is beyond you being smart academically. You can have all the first class or 2-1, but I think they're looking for something more, because when I looked at my admission letter, it said your accomplishments and your accomplishment, and I've forgotten the exact word, but basically my work, what I had done was what qualified me for that opportunity. So Berkeley is a lot, and so they're looking for something more, and you have to give them something more. So if you want to apply for UC Berkeley, I think take your time to prepare. Prepare yourself. Be that kind of person they're looking for. They're big on impact. They're big on sustainability. You want to be sure what you want. You want to prepare ahead. Yes, prepare ahead. It's a beautiful ecosystem and they're ready to support you, but you have to be that kind of person they're looking for. So spend time becoming that person they're looking for, and then when you're submitting your application, be intentional about it. Don't just, some people just randomly, they'll submit, they say I did 13 applications and no 2 applications were the same. So don't just submit anything randomly. I used to tease my friend that applications to grad school is like a full-time work. You have to, there's a lot, you have to sit down, you have to be intentional, you have to sit down and do it. I think it's very important.
Okay, my next question is, referees are very important in submitting your application. Please, can you share some tips on how to choose the right referee?
So because the work I've been doing over the last 4 or 5 years was not related to what I studied in undergraduate. To be honest, I didn't really know who I could reach out to in my school as an undergraduate to write referee for me. And I knew that my work experience was going to be powerfully relevant in being considered for the opportunity. So keep great friends, keep relationships. I also, thank God, I was able to reach out to people that were intentional and they were kind. They didn't tell me go and write it and give me to sign. Like most people do. They wrote it themselves, and these are busy people, but they were intentional about writing it for me. Another thing is that make sure that whoever is referencing you has an official email and maybe uses a letterhead. It makes it more credible. So some schools are applied for America. If you don't put an official email, if you put Gmail at gmail.com or Yahoo, they won't take it. Yes. So, but UC Berkeley was not exactly like that, but it also helped me, and I followed them up. When I followed them up, I told them this is the program I'm applying for. This is what they're looking out for. and they know me. Most of them, 3 of them knew me in so many aspects. So I guided them that this is the part of me that I want you to speak about, and this is what you're looking for. And please, I'm applying for a scholarship as well. Can you add it in your reference that I deserve to be given the scholarship? So it was 1 reference, but it was covering 2. That give her the admission, she deserves it, but also support her, she deserves it. So that is intentional. So you want to have, some people are really busy and they don't, so you want to have people that can sit down and do that for you. So yeah, I had very amazing people that referenced me.
Lucky you. Okay, so our final question is, do you have any message or advice you would like to share with aspiring students that want to get into UC Berkeley or want to receive the Mastercard Scholarship?
I think I've said that before. Do the work. Be intentional about it. Don't be in a rush. Do the work. I had good support system, a few people that I could say, what do you think about this, and all of that. Also be authentic to yourself. Don't just rush, I want the scholarship, you're going to apply for anything. Make sure that what you're doing is quite tallying, and also prepare for applications, prepare for interviews if you have interviews. I think there are also other scholarships that UC Berkeley offers, so you might want to explore those scholarships as well. And most importantly, do it yourself. Be authentic. They want to see you, they can feel it. So don't just go and copy AI and submit to them. Don't just humanify your application and make sure it is relevant to what you're doing. The competition is high, the acceptance rate is low, so you want to make sure that you stand out. You want to, when they're reading your essays, they're smiling, they want to read it to the end. So yeah, those are my thoughts. And it's a very beautiful and amazing opportunity that I wish everyone can have a taste of.
Okay, so she has a webinar that is coming up. I'm going to give her a chance to talk about it, and you should really sign up for that webinar. Please, can you tell us about the webinar?
It's a visioning and a goal setting webinar where I want to introduce people to my thought process and how I work and how I'm able to smash goals. So this is not my first win, and I also got some other scholarships or offers, 60% off, and all of that. And I've won grants of over $50,000 for my business. I've won so many accelerators, grants, all of those kind of things, and I have done so well. That's moving from a graduate without a job, that was broke, and I graduated with a 2.2, not to write about, to this in just less than 5 years. Then it's a lot. I had to evolve. I had to become another woman. I had to become another person. And most people, how do I get the scholarship? How do I win a grant? How do I do that? And I'm like, it's not about that. It's about you evolving and becoming another person. When you evolve, when you become another person, whatever goal it is, your scholarship might be World Bank, it might be the school that will give you an offer, it might be something else, but there's something you have to step into. There's a way this is done that can help you launch into that area of life, right? And so during the webinar, which is about 4 hours, is an extensive process where I'll give you tools and resources and show you how it works, and open your mindset to see it, that okay, this is what is possible, and this is what I need to do to take me from where you are to where you want to be. It's really going to be an exciting time.
When
and
is
it's on Saturday, August 5th. But after that, in case you're watching this later, there's a replay which you can have access to anytime on demand. I'm
going to leave the link to register for the webinar in the description, so just in case you want to register.
So if you're ready to change your life, you're ready to ooze the kind of confidence that I ooze and attract results, like literally relight in your life, then you want to be in this webinar. It's really a wonderful experience, and it's called the Eshet Kaye webinar. So I look forward to hearing your feedback, because it's going to be life transforming.
Thank you so much for this section. So I'm going to leave your social media URLs
and my website as well,
and her website in the description box, so you can go connect with her, reach out to her, and all of those things. She's very, very, very accommodative. So she's humble to the core. So she's very approachable, so you can reach her. And then thank you so much for watching this video. If you learn a thing or two, please leave a comment. Please also subscribe to this channel if you haven't, and also turn on the notification bell so you get notified each time I post a new video. So I'm going to see you in my next video. Bye.